A Boeing 747 was fully ready for takeoff on the runway. Amid thick fog, the pilot pushed the thrust levers forward, switched on the headlights, and the aircraft had now crossed takeoff speed, a speed from which returning is almost impossible. But at that very moment, through the dense fog, a shadow began to appear. The shadow of another Boeing 747, coming from the opposite direction on the same runway, now only a few meters away. What happened next is hard even to imagine. The question is, how did it come to this point? What was the air traffic controller doing? And what was the one small mistake that led to the deadliest disaster in aviation history? This tragic incident took place in Spain's Canary Islands, a tragedy the world remembers as the Tenerife Airport disaster. The story begins a day before the accident, on March 26, 1977, when Pan Am Flight 1736, a Boeing 747 jumbo jet, took off from Los Angeles Airport. It was scheduled to land in New York to pick up more passengers, and its final destination was the city of Las Palmas in the Canary Islands. Las Palmas, the capital of the Canary Islands, is located about 100 kilometers off the coast of Morocco, the southmost part of Spain. The place is famous worldwide for its tropical climate. But in 1977, behind the beauty of the Canary Islands lay political tension. A group called MPAIAC was demanding independence from Spain and often used violence to promote its cause. One such violent event set off the chain that led to this terrible tragedy. Pan Am Flight 1736 had picked up passengers from New York's JFK Airport and headed toward Las Palmas. Its crew included Captain Victor Grubbs, 56, First Officer Robert Bragg, 39, Flight Engineer George Warnes, 46, 13 flight attendants, and 380 passengers. Now to the second aircraft that was to be part of the same disaster. In Amsterdam Airport in the Netherlands, KLM Flight 4805, also a Boeing 747, was preparing for departure to Las Palmas. Its cockpit crew consisted of Captain Jacob van Zanten, 50, First Officer Klaas Meers, 42, and Flight Engineer Willem Schroeder, 48. There were 11 flight attendants and 235 passengers on board. After boarding, KLM Flight 4805 departed from Amsterdam Airport, and both aircraft were now heading toward Las Palmas. Meanwhile, at Las Palmas Airport, two men walked toward the terminal building, placed a bag outside a flower shop, and disappeared. The bag contained a time bomb. At exactly 1 p.m., a phone call came to the airport reception. The caller claimed to be from MPAIC, the same group mentioned earlier, and warned that a bomb would explode in 15 minutes. The airport staff immediately evacuated the terminal, and panic turned to horror when a powerful explosion actually occurred 15 minutes later. Part of the terminal's roof collapsed, and all airport operations were suspended. Flights were canceled, and inbound flights were diverted elsewhere. Soon after, KLM Flight 4805 approached Las Palmas, but air traffic control informed the crew about the explosion and diverted them to Tenerife Airport about 110 kilometers away. After 25 minutes at 1:38 p.m., the aircraft landed on Tenerife's runway 30. At the same time, Pan Am Flight 1736, approaching Las Palmas, was also diverted to Tenerife. Soon the airport became crowded because it was small and located in a mountainous region. The elevation was around 2,000 feet, and due to the surrounding mountains, moist Atlantic winds often turned into sudden clouds. Initially, visibility was fine, but soon, thick fog reduced it sharply, sometimes down to 300 meters, then clearing up to 2 kilometers moments later. Both flights deboarded passengers for rest. KLM decided to refuel there to save time later once Las Palmas reopened. But this refueling blocked the taxiway. Tenerife Airport only had one runway, one taxiway, and one small apron. For jumbo jets, this created serious congestion. Pan Am had to wait. At 4:45 p.m., KLM finished refueling and began taxiing. Because the apron was packed, the controller instructed KLM to taxi on the runway itself to the far eastern end, make a 180-degree turn, and line up for takeoff. Pan Am was told to follow KLM down the runway, but to exit through C3. However, due to fog, the Pan Am pilots missed the C3 exit. KLM reached the end of the runway and got into takeoff position. The KLM captain requested takeoff clearance, but the controller only gave route instructions, not permission. KLM misunderstood this as clearance and replied, "We are at takeoff." Whether he said at takeoff or taking off is still unclear. The tower replied okay, but seconds later clarified, "Stand by for takeoff, I will call you." That crucial message never reached KLM because at the same time Pan Am transmitted, "We are still on the runway." Both messages overlapped, producing only static noise in KLM's cockpit. Believing they had clearance, the KLM captain advanced the throttles. The flight engineer warned that Pan Am was still on the runway, but the captain replied, "Oh yes," and continued the takeoff roll. In the fog, visibility was just 300 meters. Suddenly, Pan Am's pilots saw headlights through the mist. It was KLM speeding toward them. They tried to turn off the runway, but it was too late. KLM's right engine struck Pan Am's first-class cabin, tearing through the fuselage, and the landing gear collapsed, and the aircraft burst into flames about 150 meters down the runway, its full fuel tanks turning it into a fireball. All 248 people on KLM were killed instantly. Most Pan Am passengers in first class died on impact, but several in economy escaped through holes in the fuselage, some jumping from a height of 20 feet. Out of 396 people on board, only 61 survived. More might have lived, but the control tower realized what happened only minutes later when another aircraft reported seeing fire on the runway. Rescue vehicles moved slowly because of the thick fog. In total, 583 lives were lost in an instant. Investigations using cockpit voice recorders revealed that the accident was caused by a chain of events: the bomb blast at Las Palmas, KLM's decision to refuel and block the taxiway, reduced visibility, and Pan Am missing the C3 exit. Ultimately, investigators held KLM Flight 4805's crew responsible as they began takeoff without clearance, despite the flight engineer's warning just 5 seconds earlier. The Tenerife Airport disaster became a wake-up call for the entire aviation industry. Afterwards, major changes were made. Improvements in radio phraseology, new mandatory radar systems at airports, and clear holding point indicators on all runways. Today, Tenerife has 2 airports, the northern one where the crash occurred, and a new southern airport at a lower altitude where visibility is rarely affected by fog or clouds. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.